Hey YouTube. Not that I have a large following on YouTube yet, but we'll get there. Now, if you have legacy code that is, expensive to maintain, difficult to update, it's clear, why you would want to rewrite from scratch, because then you could start, with a clean slate and build the perfect system, right? So it's very easy to go to that thought that, hey, we need to rewrite this and start that as a project. You get funding and you get going. Now, I will hold that history shows that those types of rewrite projects typically tends to fail. They can fail in different ways, either complete another failure, like they never ship, or they can ship, but they're way more expensive than originally thought. And sometimes they ship late and expensive, but one never manages to turn off the old system. So now you have two systems to maintain. What I highly recommend you consider is, and this has to do with your view, if you are a value view, which I'm trying to teach people to see value, not functions and features and solutions, then with the value view, it's quite clear that normally the way to go is to build on what you have, even if the end result is not going to have any code from the old system, right? Even if your future state is going to be completely new, completely fresh, I highly recommend that you start building on what you have. Because what do you have? You have all the functions and features, whatever you call them, right? So when people start rebuilding, from scratch their product, the first thing they typically do is try to get all the functions and features to work. But guess what? Those are already there in the current system. So what you're trying to achieve is not to replicate the functions and features, is to improve them. So if you start with what you have, you don't have to go through that, you already have, let's say, your minimal viable product in your old system. Now what you got to do is say, well, let's improve the values. And the values can be anything, like performance, easy to upgrade, maintain, cheap to maintain. And of course, you might have customers who demand new and improved things, and the old system is just too difficult to change, to do any changes to. So, you can't say yes to all these wonderful changes and improvements that your customers want. So, but it is what it is. Now you can improve it from there. Now, just for fun, I'm driving in this Tesla, and half the time I'm driving around on autopilot. So think about what Tesla has done here with autopilot, because there's a little traffic, make sure I don't kill anybody. What they've done with autopilot is, if they were to build from scratch, their vision, which is a fully autonomous car, when do you think they would ship? Now, what they did was, instead of saying, no, we will not ship a product until we've, built a fully autonomous car from scratch, what they decided to do was build on what was there. And what was there, as far as a pilot, we're talking pilot and autopilot, what was there was a driver. So, a pilot. So the pilot is already there. So what they thought of, let's just improve. Again, it's not about the pilot, it's not about the technology, it's about the values. Let's improve the values of the pilot of the car. And that's what they've done. Now, half the time, I can relax more when I'm driving, and supposedly it's more safe. Specifically when I'm on the highway. So right now I'm on the local roads, and it doesn't drive very well for me. So, but when I get down on the highway here, I put it on autopilot, and it does, the driving for me. I just had to be aware, because it's not completely there yet. just to be ready to take over if something would go wrong. But then the end result for me is that I'm way more relaxed when I'm driving. So when I get to my destination, I am relaxed. So the point though is, it's not about Tesla here, it's about you, but that's what Tesla has done. That's the view I recommend you do. You take a look at what you have and don't think of it as functions and features and how to update it, but think of how to improve what is there. Now, so what you got to do, sometimes what you have to do is you have to find a way to live with your beast, your legacy beast that you have there already, and build on that. So sometimes there are many different strategies. I can't go through all of them, but one that typically works is you find some separate core functions that your product does, and you say, hey, let's say there's some reports that has to be generated. Say, okay, let's separate those out and just do the reports in the new and improved system. And then when you build that, you have to have some makeshift, technology APIs to connect the new shiny system with the old system, and that you actually might have to throw away once you have developed it further. But the benefit of that is that you get to try it out for real, just like Tesla is trying out their autopilots. You get to see if the new system really is better. You get to see how much it actually costs. So these benefits are tremendous, and you get to actually have to force yourself to deliver it to the real market. So just in principle, driving the Tesla, but the drive is driving me now. So now I can be more relaxed. I can have more focus on this, but I still need to have the eyes out though on the road. But so you get all those benefits from having a little bit of a negative side effect is that you might have to build some makeshift systems until that can connect the old system with the new system for the initial stages. So that's one way to break your legacy system up, your old system up, so that you can start building this completely new thing in little parts that in itself starts giving value to your customers. So then you start giving value to your customers very early rather than late, right? So like I'm driving the Tesla today rather than in 5 years from now when their fully autonomous system is up and going. So the value is already being delivered, and you can start charging for that value early. So that's just something to think about, when you consider building from scratch or building on what you have. I definitely would take a strong look at, is it possible at all to use the legacy system to build on top, to build from as a starting system? I would rarely go the route of building from scratch. Never say never, but gosh, I can't actually see when that would be a viable option. So that's my 10 cents on this. I hope you found it interesting. My little journey is over, so my live video will end. If you're interested, I almost forgot. If you're interested to learn more about this, I do have a webinar on Thursdays. It's Wednesday today, so tomorrow, if you're watching this now, I have a webinar. You go to guild.com, and at the top you'll see a blue banner. Click on that to register for the live webinar, which is not like a drive like this. It's a proper, where you're in the studio, high quality live webinar. It's about an hour, and it's about how to succeed in projects, not about legacy code as such, but how to succeed in product development. and how to focus on delivering value at every stage of the game. You know, how do you capture that value? How do you get the value out of your stakeholders when they suggest technical solutions? How do you get value out of that? And once they do, how do you specify that value? And because it varies, you need to quantify. You need to learn how to quantify these values. So that's what the webinar is about. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. And I am at my destination. Yes. So do like Tesla does. Build on what is there. Ciao.